No friendly fire! Oh, I saw you.
How's it going, Gumi Gang? Welcome back to the channel, and I hope you guys are enjoying Season 6 thus far. It's spooky season time, and I love spooky season. I love the haunting event they always do, so I'm super excited about this, and I've been really enjoying it. But with today's video, I have something really important to mention, and that's basically that the Reclaimer, more specifically the conversion kit for it, the JAK Devastators, seem to have gotten a pretty massive stealth buff that wasn't mentioned in the patch notes, or you could think of it as maybe a fix, depending on what you thought about the gun before. I think a lot of people were under the impression that these things were bugged with their fire rate, but now they basically bumped it up to match the semi-auto's base fire rate of about 200 rounds per minute. That's right, so when you dual wield these things, each one of them shoots 200 rounds per minute, which is actually no joke. So I'm going to show you guys what this thing is capable of now when it comes to the time to kill and the ranges and stuff, because it's pretty damn nasty. So the way it worked before this buff, since it shot so slow and it was so awkward, if you didn't get the one-shot kill, you were pretty much guaranteed to be dead, because it was close to like a whole second if you missed that one-shot kill. So it was like really niche and kind of fun, but just didn't work super well. There was a lot of other better shotguns, even though this could one-shot, just didn't really have the range to back it up, and the time to kill was super unforgiving. But here is the damage profile now, which hasn't really changed in terms of the distance or the damage, but rather the time to kill. Because if you don't get that insta-down 0 millisecond time to kill, who cares? Just spam the trigger now, because you have two that shoot at 200 rounds per minute, and you can get a 300 millisecond time to kill out to 4.7 meters if you don't hit that first shot, and pass that out to about the 12 meter mark where you can't get a hit marker anymore. It's still very fast at 600 milliseconds. I mean, consider where it was before, where it was basically either the one shot or it's 900 milliseconds or like close to a second. It was insane. This is a huge buff. Like, this is insane when you use it. It's immediately noticeable, and as long as you're kind of up close within that like 5 to maybe 8 meter range and you're just spamming the hell out of those triggers, you are pretty much going to get all your one-on-one engagements and just win them. Like, you're just going to win them. This thing is that strong. 20 pellets downstream, tons of damage. If you're rocking Dragon's Breath, of course, there's flames that are probably going to blind the enemy, so that's kind of fun. But yeah, this thing is insanely good now. Holy crap, it's very strong. Now, of course, there are caveats. You only get 4 rounds per shotgun, which basically means 4 rounds in total, so you're probably going to burn through that pretty quick. This is kind of like the Gracie Auto from Warzone 1, where it was designed to just go in with those 5 rounds and just spam the hell out of it to one person, wait for your next engagement with all 5 rounds, spam the hell out of them with 5 rounds. It kind of feels the same way. But the cool thing here is you can pace your shots and get that one-shot kill if you want. Get a 2-shot here, get a 1-shot there, get a 1-shot there. You can totally do that if you manage your engagements correctly. So this can still work in trios and quads. You just got to know what you're doing. But man, like in one-on-one engagements, I swear, I can't really tell you how many times I lost a gunfight with this thing as long as I was in that range. It's just so devastating. See what I did there? It's just incredibly strong. And of course, I'll share my thoughts with it soon. But yeah, this thing, absolutely disgusting now. So if you want to know what class I've been rocking, here you go. It's basically not changed since before. Of course, if you don't want to rock the choke and you want to rock a suppressor, you can totally do that. It's not going to make or break this thing. I do tend to rock a suppressor, but I know a lot of people like the choke. I'm going to tell you guys, it doesn't really matter. Just use what feels comfortable to you. The suppressor is definitely an underrated attachment, so go with that if you want. So now I want to talk about the more subjective part of the video, which is my overall thoughts on this buff. And of course, keep in mind, this is subjective, so if you disagree, let me know in the comments. And if you agree, also let me know in the comments. But to me now, after this buff, before it was really niche. You got that one-shot kill, and if you didn't get that, it was basically garbage. You could basically punch people instead and do better. But with this thing now, after the buff, it feels like you kind of have your cake and you can eat it too. Like, it can one-shot, but it's also got insane spammy potential. It's absolutely absurd how strong this thing can be in those super close range engagements. And because of that, because it can one-shot still, it has 10 pellets per shot, it's got a crazy fire rate, you can use Dragon's Breath on and all this stuff. I feel like it's just pushing the boundaries a little too much, and it's a little too strong at the moment. Now, yes, it's fun. Go ahead and use it. Get it out of your system. It's not like crazy broken in the grand scheme of things. It's not like the new LMG where it just kind of decimates people at long ranges with very little effort with no recoil. It's not that kind of busted. It has its niche it's in, but in that niche, it's just like, insane how you can't really do anything about it if you go against it. You're just kind of dead. And again, like I said, there are things to keep it in check. Only having 4 rounds does make it difficult for like quads and stuff. You're basically reloading after every kill, but it just kind of feels like this thing has an identity crisis in the best way, because it's not really a pump action where it deals a ton of damage. It's not really a semi-auto where it's got a really quick time to kill and it's spammable. It's kind of both. It one-shots, but it also has crazy spam potential. Like, it's just the best of both worlds. And really, the biggest downside to me is the fact that the range is somewhat limited, but also, again, the 4 rounds per shotgun. I think that all things considered, the pros just kind of slightly outweigh all the cons. At the end of the day, it is a shotgun and it should be really strong up close, but I think there maybe needs to be some adjustments to how it functions. If it's going to one-shot, maybe make it to where it doesn't have as great of a fire rate, or you can still keep it to where it's got its great fire rate, but it just doesn't one-shot. You could reduce the number of pellets so it's not 10, which is insanely good. Like 10 pellets per shotgun is really, really good. It just probably needs a little bit of adjustment down. I'm not saying to make it useless like the mag lift where it just feels really inconsistent and bad, but just something to where it kind of picks where it's going. It's a spammy shotgun or it's a really strong heavy hitter. Just one of those, and I feel like it's going to be fine. Because right now, I feel like it's just kind of the best of both worlds, even though it only has 4 rounds. That's just my opinion on it, though, and based off of my gameplay with it, which I spent quite a few hours with it. So that's all I have to say about that. So now, as always, I want to know down below in the comments, what are your thoughts on this aftermarket kit buff? Are you guys glad it got a buff? Do you think it was warranted? Or do you think it's gone overboard and now it's a little too much and it needs a nerf? And with all that being said, guys, I will see you in the next video.
What a bitch, bro. You're such a pussy.